Hello, everybody. It is Friday, September 27th, 3:45 p.m. We are back again on the market close. It's Friday. We're ending out the week. It has been a long week. Lots of stuff has happened this week, but we are officially done with the week, ending it out on Friday. We have one more trading day of September, which is going to be Monday, and we'll see how the market turns out at the end of Monday. But we are pretty much done with earnings season. We got Costco out of the way. We got, what other big earnings did we have this week? We had Costco, Micron, that was a big one, Accenture. So we got most of those earnings done. I think we have a couple next week, but that's pretty much it. We got the Fed rate cuts out of the way this month. And then over the past couple of days, everything that's happened with China, with the Saudis and oil, that is also compounded in and of itself. It is a pretty interesting end. At least to this week. We've got a lot of stuff going on. I finally found out why Nvidia is down on the day. I don't think anyone knew at what we ended, 11:30 in the morning, why Nvidia was down. Small caps were up. China was up. Lots of stocks were up. Bitcoin was up. We had no idea why Nvidia was down. I found out why Nvidia was down. But before we get into Nvidia, this stock right here, Robinhood, 2380, looks like we should get a close above 2350, which would be really nice. Exciting to see. Robinhood did get upgraded this morning from Citibank from $19 to $23. And really, they said, hey, the other brokerages are not going to grow as much as Robinhood. So it doesn't make any sense for us to not give Robinhood the nod here and give them an upgrade. And that's kind of what we saw. So I think let's get started into the show. First topic really is Robinhood. Not going to spend too much time on it, but obviously we've talked about it a lot. The catalysts have been real. There's a narrative behind them. That's why they got the upgrade. October event is big. They bought back the 1% deposits until October 1st, which is going to end in a couple of days. And then obviously we've had Fed rate cuts, which have been good for risk assets, obviously been good for trading volumes, which is something that Robinhood benefits from. The real reason I think Robinhood's up right now, and a lot of other proxies are up, along with MicroStrategy, BitX, etc., is crypto. I mean, the thesis on Robinhood, you could sum up outside of all the stuff I've talked about and stuff that we've talked about for a while now with just Bitcoin. Bitcoin in and of itself is one of the highest margin businesses on Robinhood. I think their take rate is in the 40s in terms of basis points they take on every spread. And if you get a ton of trading volumes, that's like directly going into their bottom line. Like there really isn't that much margin there when it comes to, there really isn't that many expenses there when it comes to accruing that revenue. So that's really important. And what we saw today was Bitcoin get momentum. Now, why did Bitcoin get momentum today? Where's Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin 65,760. So interestingly enough, Hood is basically at the high of the day. We hit 2390 at one point, but 2381. Even though Bitcoin is not at 66.5 anymore, which was their high of the day, now it's 65.7. So really, investors are anticipating a broader move in Bitcoin, in my opinion, which is why they're still continuing to buy Robinhood. I believe the Robinhood 6% move today is because of Bitcoin. I think the upgrade is like whatever. Like Robinhood doesn't really respond to upgrades that much. I mean, sometimes it does, but this was 19 to 23. It wasn't that crazy. This was more so to me because Bitcoin confirmed some assumptions from technical perspectives in terms of where it's going. And as a result, you want to front run that by getting the proxies that would enable Bitcoin to go higher or that would benefit from Bitcoin going higher. And one of those is Robinhood. On top of that, we saw MicroStrategy have a phenomenal day. MicroStrategy right here, 174, up 5% on the day. Quick stat on some MicroStrategy stuff that we're seeing, and then we'll get into Nvidia. The MSTR 2X ETF, I believe it's MSTU, if I'm not wrong, that already has 72 million in assets under management. It's up 10% today. That puts it in the top 20% of the 515 ETFs that have launched this year, which is crazy, right? 515 ETFs have launched this year. Despite the 1.75x MSTR ETF, which is MSTX, having $357 million of assets under management. This ETF is up 9% on the day. It had $120 million back in August, so it is 3x since August. But we are starting to see a lot of people get very bullish on MicroStrategy and then the derivative ETFs of MicroStrategy, which end up helping MicroStrategy. All of that because Bitcoin continues to go higher. So that's really some of the big moves that we're seeing on the day in the context of crypto, MicroStrategy, Robinhood, and that's why we're getting some momentum. All of these stocks hit 52-week highs today. Alibaba, PayPal, McDonald's, American Express, Deere, Home Depot, IBM, Lowe's, Live Nation, United Airlines, Verizon, Coupang, GE Healthcare, Ralph Lauren, Sherwin-Williams, Toast, Unilever. Got a lot of stocks hitting some momentum. We got our boy Adam in the chat, MicroStrategy right there with all exclamation points. Again, folks, I'm not saying a recession is not possible. It's just it's kind of hard now with everything lining up the way that it's lining up to think that a recession is definitely going to happen. I still think there's a shot. I still think there is a chance. We have to look at unemployment data and inflation and all that stuff coming in, especially Q3 earnings. But this has been one of the most interesting ways that the macro has played out over the past month. And we've talked all about it, so I'm not going to read this too in depth. But China turned on the money printer. The Saudis decided they were going to keep drilling for oil. And GDP growth, initial jobless claims, and PCE this morning came in and beat on expectations or came in line with expectations. There is just a lot of things that are happening that makes it hard for people to, or at least hard for investors to think that there's going to be this cataclysmic recession where everyone loses their job when gas prices are at $2.50 at the pump, right? Or when unemployment is still not below or not even near 5%, at least not yet. Or when you've got China opening up so many avenues for efficiencies and liquidity to enter into the U.S. markets, enter into Japan's market. South Korea's market did well. CIS, which is the index. Am I getting it wrong? CSI. I think it's CSI. Yeah, CSI. It's up 5% today. This is China index. It's had its best year in a long time. So year to date, this thing is up. Look at this. Year to date, it's up 9%. It was basically going negative for the full year. And then in a matter of 2 days, it is up over the past 1 year. Look at this. This is China's economy in the past 1 year. Like, imagine if the S&P or the NASDAQ was up 0.38% over the past year. This is what's been happening in China. Over the past 5 years, it's down 4%. Like, this is like China really needed to do what they've done. I cannot understate how bullish it is for the broader economy globally. And so now in the past 5 days, it's up 15%. It's a very big deal, and it matters a lot for the rest of the economy in different parts of the world as well. So all that to say, seems relatively bullish as well. Robinhood 2388. Look at that. All right. So quick thing on Nvidia, and then we'll close out the market in the next 8 minutes. Does Hood get to 24 at the end of the? I don't know if Hood gets to 24 in 8 minutes. That would be awesome, though. That would be awesome if we could see if that was happening. I have bought about 500 shares this week at 22.50, and I told you guys pretty much every day on the market close, I said, guys, about 100 shares at 22.50, 23.91 right here. And the reason for that is because just looking at the charts, it felt like 22 was really solid support. 22.30 was strong. 22.19, I had an order yesterday for like 400 shares at 22.19. If that would fill, that never ended up getting filled because that was the low of the day a couple days ago. If we get below 20 or below 21, it is a buy the freaking dip to me on Robinhood going into October, because that would be short-term volatility, and that would be volatility that I would take advantage of if we end up seeing that. So we'll see if that happens, but 23.92 on the day, up 6.65%. Also, Rocket Lab, hell of a day for Rocket Lab, 974 up 12%, not in that $10 range, but still, I mean, 11% on Rocket Lab is just incredible. Shout out to everyone who has Rocket Lab stock. Rocket Lab, year to date, up 83%. I mean, it's outperformed pretty much all the tech stocks outside of Nvidia. 135% over the past 6 months, 59% over the past month, 5 days, 27% for Rocket Lab. Now, why is Nvidia red, even though the broader market's doing okay right here? Robinhood's really trying to get that 24 close, dude. 23.95. That would be wild if we get the 24 close. Nvidia is down 2% because China, speaking of how amazing China is, apparently they put out like a statement to Chinese companies today, and they said stay away from the Nvidia AI chips. China urges local AI companies to stay away from Nvidia AI chips. That was the headline today. That's the only reason Nvidia is down. This is a pretty bullish green day for the markets. We had great macro data. I don't know if this is one of those like, oh, see, you can't trust China anymore. This is what they're saying. It kind of feels like that, but it's also like maybe China wants to have their own companies produce chips that could go to help their economy, and they don't want to keep paying Nvidia. So you could kind of say it's theoretically stimulative for the Chinese economy, because they're going to probably make incentives for AI companies in China to produce their own chips. Now, I don't know if that's even possible, given Nvidia has a monopoly on a lot of this stuff. So this right here, I don't think is worth Nvidia going down 5% on the day or 4% on the day, but it is, again, another reminder for everyone who wants to be long China right now. Not saying that's a bad move, but just remember, like, shit like this can happen where they say something and then boom, the stock's down. So, the next day, if they say, hey, Alibaba, blah, 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 and Alibaba falls 10%. I don't think that's going to happen because they want Alibaba to succeed, at least for now. But these are things that we have to remember. Shit like that could happen. And obviously that could be not the best for any stocks that China gets upset about, or sectors that China gets upset about. AMD, you would think it's bullish for AMD, but AMD is also down 1.67%. So Nvidia falling doesn't really help all of the semis. I mean, usually it hurts the semis. Nvidia leads the semis and then the rest of them follow. It would have to be a really nasty headline on Nvidia where AMD can like clean up some of the mess for AMD to get the benefit. Usually they just kind of move together. If we look at the semis now, so when Nvidia fell, it kind of hurt the rest of the semis. So what I heard, basically what I'm interpreting is that when China came out with that headline, people rotated out of the semis because they had a great week. I mean, the semis had a great week. Look at Taiwan down about 5% right here. This was down almost, I think, this was up 7% for the week. And they rotated into crypto and into Tesla. Look at freaking Tesla. Yesterday it hit 262, fell all the way to 251. Now right back at 260. We got 4 minutes left into the close. We can see if it can close above 260 for the week, which would be super bullish. And it would be exciting to see if that can end up happening for Tesla. So I think we saw a little bit of a rotation from the semi stocks, including Nvidia, into Bitcoin and Tesla. And that's obviously helped a lot of the Bitcoin proxies and also helped Tesla as well. The Olin podcast talked about Palantir. Yes, they did. So in a little bit, I'll play the 1 minute clip where they talked about Palantir. It was in this ongoing discussion that I still am not fully educated on, and I have to talk to a lot of people smarter than me. You know, I'm actually going to get dinner with my boy Mateo. I'm going to New York today. He works at Palantir, is one of the smartest guys I know. I'm going to ask him about this question around the commoditization of AI software SaaS software via AI agents, because that was the topic of the discussion on on Olin. And we'll listen to that in a second. But David Sachs basically said, hey, Palantir is one of these companies that's actually building custom solutions, and that's why they're valued so much. Kind of what we've been talking about on the show, which is that Palantir is being interpreted as a company that's not going to be commoditized by AI. They're going to be doing the AI that allows companies to get more efficient and effective. So I'll let you guys know what my boy Mateo thinks today, and I'll get his thoughts. He's a very smart guy. I think he graduated computer science like early. He went to Brown University in Rhode Island, which is an Ivy League. So he's a smart guy. And I would love to get his perspective on how that plays out. But again, that could be a reason the market's giving Palantir the premium. They kind of think, hey, some of these other SaaS companies are going to be in trouble, whereas Palantir is going to be the one actually benefiting from that AI tailwind. So we'll listen to that in a little bit and see what he has to say. Amit, are you still holding your SoFi options? Yes, I still think SoFi is going to do well. SoFi today is up 2.5%. So we got 796, which is not horrible. Again, I think earnings is going to be very important along with increasing their guidance. And then we'll see. I think this earnings is going to be a big one. And if they can do what the street likes, then hopefully the shorts start to leave it alone. I think really Rocket Lab is where the shorts are getting scared. You know, we talk about companies with massive short floats. Rocket Lab has an 18% short float. So does SoFi, but Rocket Lab is giving the shorts a reason to like really reconsider. Also, speaking of the Chinese companies, dude, the 10 largest internet companies in China were net short by 60% in aggregate. That is also why you've seen such a dramatic move on FXI and the other Chinese ETFs, as you can see right here, from about 21 to 32 in the matter of 5 months, and right here 25 to 32 in the matter of basically 5 days. It is because those shorts are now thinking, hey, maybe we have to cover. If Xi Jinping is going to keep printing the money, there is no way we can justifiably be short these stocks, especially if China wants them to win. So that itself, I think some of the covering's already happened, but maybe the covering will continue to happen. On Rocket Lab, I definitely think some of the shorts got decided to cover today. I mean, I don't know why it's up 12% on the day with no real catalyst besides the shorts covering. And so it seems like that's kind of what's happening here. Do we get Steve today? Yes, at about 4:15-ish, 4:10, I'll give him a call. And then we'll see what Steve has to say. Amid any reason the miners are lagging on Bitcoin, you know, I think the street's just a little doubtful that the miners are going to be able to produce the results they want to see to act. Wow, the mining ETF is down today. That's crazy. I didn't expect that. WGMI is down. Yeah, again, miners are real businesses. They have to have cash flows and profits and all this stuff. If Bitcoin goes up, it will inevitably help them. But in the short term, you know, Bitcoin's still stuck in this 60 to 70 range, which is what it was at in March. So you want to see this kind of break out. And I think then the miners will benefit, but that's probably why the street's a little upset or not giving the miners the bid just yet in the short term. All right, here we go. We are done for the week, folks. Time for the weekend. Friday, September 27th, 4 p.m. The stock market once again is closed. Robinhood closed at $23.89. That's a hell of a close, man. That is a hell of a close. I did not expect that today, guys. I did not expect that today. 23.92 after hours. A 23 close would have been amazing. 23.50 would have been awesome. 23.89 is pretty strong for Robinhood. So great close on Hood. I think that's mainly based on this idea that Bitcoin is starting to gain momentum, and that should help them. They have the October event. They have earnings coming up. So I think there's a lot of catalysts in line for Robinhood to continue gaining momentum. Tesla closes above 260 for the first time since July. Nice to see. We're only 10 points away from 270, which is the 52-week high on Tesla. 1010 seems to be bullish. I'm reading a lot of employees at Tesla that are tweeting about how excited they are for the event. It does seem like there is going to be an optimist angle. And if Tesla just comes out and shows them that it shows the world that they're big daddy when it comes to AI, FSD, robotics, I think the street's going to like it. And if there's anything specific the street can use to model their estimates, we're going to see even more momentum for Tesla. So 260 right there on Tesla. We have Rocket Lab with the 978 close. Absolutely incredible, up 12.49% on the day. Alibaba up another 2.1%. Snowflake up 1.25%. S&P 500 has closed a little red, 571.41. So we see a little bit of red on the S&P. IWM is green on the day by about 0.5%. Qs are slightly red, down about 0.55%. Let's look at the Mag 7. Mag 7, we got Apple was green on the day slightly. Microsoft was red. Meta was red. Google was up about 1%. Amazon down almost 2%. Nvidia down 2%. And then Tesla was up about 3%. So Tesla and Google were up on the day. The rest of them took a break, which makes sense. Meta was up a lot this week. Amazon broke out to 194. Had some people probably take some profits. And then Tesla, it's riding momentum. And Google obviously has been sold off for about a couple months now. So that's why Google probably got up about 1% on the day. Not a bad week, man. Not a bad week for the stock market. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff went down in the macro, but not too bad of a week at all. Not too bad. Reading your guys' comments right now, seeing what you all are saying. It's been a decent week. Let me know if you did any buying or selling of this week. My only real buying was Robinhood. And the one share that someone gave me a $40 super chat to say to buy for Palantir. Speaking of Palantir, where is Palantir closing on the day? Palantir had a really basic day, nothing too crazy. Yeah, it closed red, down about 0.5%. Again, Peter Thiel sold $600 million of stock this week. Karp sold $325 million of stock last week. Street doesn't care. Street does not care. Where's PayPal, by the way? PayPal. Oh, wow. Why did PayPal fall 3%? Huh. Any ideas why PayPal, didn't they announce like something today with China as well, like China payments or something? That's weird. Why did PayPal fall 3% today? That's very weird. I feel like, yeah, I have no clue why PayPal fell today. PayPal, no, September 26th which was yesterday. PayPal just launched a PayPal Complete Payments in China, supporting Chinese merchants in selling globally. Okay, so that was a headline yesterday. I don't know. That's weird. Not sure why. Profit taking, I think Crossroads says. Yeah, probably is profit taking for that. All right, so PayPal fell a little bit, and then Palantir, yeah, so Palantir right here, down about 0.5%. So again, with Karp and Thiel selling this much and the street not taking it down, it just feels like the momentum is still underneath Palantir. And the reason for that is a lot of people think that they continue to have the momentum given they are one of the best SaaS names that is out there. Here's 1 minute of David Sachs on the Olin podcast kind of talking about what's going on in the world of SaaS and what it means for companies like Palantir. They did mention Palantir and talked a little bit about them.
Well, let's wrap this up so we get to the next thing.
Yes,
please. Last word for you. Last word.
So, look, I think that on the whole, I agree with Benioff here that there's more net new opportunity for AI companies, whether they be startups or, existing big companies like Salesforce that are trying to do AI, than there is disruption. I think there will be some disruption. It's very hard for us to see exactly what AI is going to look like in 5 or 10 years. So I don't want to discount the possibility that there will be some disruption of existing players. But I think on the whole, there's more net new opportunity. For example, the most highly valued public software company right now in terms of ARR multiple is Palantir. And I think that's largely because the market perceives Palantir as having a big AI opportunity. What is Palantir's approach? The first thing Palantir does when they go into a customer is they integrate with all of its systems. And they're dealing with the largest enterprises. They're dealing with the government, the Pentagon, Department of Defense. The first thing they do is go in and integrate with all of these legacy systems. And they collect all of the data in one place. They call it creating a digital twin. And once all the data is in one place with the right permissions and safeguards, now analysts can start working it. And that was their historical value proposition. But in addition, AI can now start working that problem. So anything that the analysts could work, now AI is going to be able to work. And so they're in an ideal position to master these new AI workflows. So what is the point I'm making? It's just that you can't just throw an LLM at these large enterprises. You have to go in there and integrate with the existing systems. It's not about ripping out the existing systems because that's just a lot of headaches that nobody needs. It's generally an easier approach just to collect.
Except when the renewal comes. What happens when you have to, you
got a really good
$1 billion
negotiating position
on something,
Yeah.
and then you're going to renegotiate? You're going to spend $1 billion again 5 years from now? It just doesn't seem very likely.
There's going to be a lot of hardcore negotiations going on, Chamath. People are going to ask for 20% off, 50% off, and people are going to have to be more competitive. That's all.
I suspect Palantir's go-to-market, when they start to really scale, they'll be able to underprice a bunch of these other alternatives. And so I think that when you look at the impacts and pricing that all of these open source and closed source model companies have now introduced in terms of the price per token, what we've seen is just a massive step function lower, right? So it is incredibly deflationary. So the things that sit on top are going to get priced as a function of that cost, which means it will be an order of magnitude cheaper than the stuff that it replaces, which means that a company would almost have to purposely want to keep paying tens of millions of dollars when they don't have to. They would need to make that as an explicit decision. And I think that very few companies will be in a position to be that cavalier in 5 and 10 years.
So you guys can continue listening to it. I'll put the link here in the chat. But the core argument they're talking about is the nature of an AI platform actually being adopted that is custom built for clients, which can't be as easily commoditized as like a relational database. And so obviously we'll see how everything plays out. I'm going to keep talking to a lot more people that are smarter than me around this idea of AI commoditizing SaaS and if Palantir is built to kind of withstand that. My idea is that, yes, it is, because that ontology is hard to replicate. I think it's possible to replicate via AI. I think it's difficult for BP to trust like some random off-brand AI product that it's going to build an entire ontology for, you know, the $80 billion company that is BP with all the trillions of petabytes of data that they have. So I think it's a long time until that happens, but it is something to consider. And obviously the market is pricing Palantir as someone who is going to benefit from all of that growth versus other software companies that might not have the same AI tailwind beneath them. All right, let's call Steve in a second. Christian, thank you for the $5 super chat. Amid, I am pounding the table on ACHR and Joby, negative 22% or 22 and 17% short flow with impending certifications and licensing. ACHR has 6 billion BOB. I think BOB is backlog, if I'm not wrong. That's a term for backlog. Look, I think the aviation companies are interesting. I will take a deeper look at it, given you sent a $5 super chat to pound the table on it. If anyone else wants to do some DD, that's the cool thing about this channel, right? We have people that actually are willing to really put some picks out there and kind of put them out into the public. So look, I'll write it down. I'm writing it down right now in my notes, and I'll take a deeper look at these two. I think my broader issue with the aviation companies have been that they are so far away from becoming the Uber of the air that is their overarching vision. So Archer Aviation, incredible company. You know, I would imagine the financials or whatever. I know Palantir does work with them as well. They're at one of the AFP cons. But for them to really scale, you have to have people saying, all right, instead of taking this Uber, like I'm going to New York today, instead of Ubering to New York, I should easily be able to call a little Uber flight, like instead of Uber car, Uber flight, and then just, you know, take a flight there. And I think that is far away, you know. Now, granted, there may be other tailwinds and catalysts that are coming up along with that short float. So something I'll have to look into. But it's one of those things where that story needs to really, really become real before I think investors get excited about it, but it's something I'll take a look at and see if there's anything deeper. Adam, thank you for the $73.72 super chat. £2 your shares on me. You're the man. Super helpful, amazing channel. I know personal friends. What up, Z, that listen every day, getting so much value. Channel is growing as we as a community are growing. Love it. Elon Musk's best friend. I appreciate you, Adam. Means the world. I will buy your £2 your shares Monday morning when the market opens, and I'll text you a screenshot on you. So thank you for that, Adam. First of all, before I call Steve, thank you everybody for being here. It's been a big, big week for the markets. Been a big week for the channel. We had Chris Camillo on the channel. We had the Elon Musk quote tweet, which, dude, at this point, I think the thing's at like 50 million views. The Elon stimulus is a different type of stimulus. 49.2 million views. I made a post on Twitter today about how my mom told the 1.3 billion people in India, 49.6 million, that her son and Elon Musk are best friends, because that's quite literally what she's done, dude. If you were part of a WhatsApp group in India, you probably got this message. So she said Elon Musk and her son are best friends, and that it's all because of how well she raised me. By the way, I tried telling her about Sam Altman and OpenAI yesterday. She did not give one fuck, dude. She was like, I don't care. She's like, Elon Musk is your best friend. That's it. So moms are absolutely your biggest cheerleaders for life. If you have your mom in your life, I would definitely recommend just sending her a call today. If you're not with her, if you're with her, giving her a hug, because it's special, dude. It's special. I mean, there's not that many people that unapologetically and unconditionally could care less about what the reasoning is for why Elon reposted you, but they're just so happy for the fact that it's happening. And, they don't care about the details. They just care about, I mean, my mom was cheering for me when I was on the basketball team and I kind of sucked. She was still there cheering. She was cheering for me when I got onto the debate team and I didn't suck as much. And she's cheering for me today at a different part of my life. So shout out to moms across the world, and absolutely shout out to my mom for just caring. As Julie says right here, moms are indeed your biggest fans. Now, my dad last night was like, oh, that's really cool. my dad doesn't show his emotions, dude. It's a different type of thing. But my dad shows he loves me in totally other ways. It's a different way that my dad and my mom express their emotions. But just having parents who actually care, it means a lot, dude. It really, really, really means a lot. All right. So, by the way, you guys know I told you yesterday, like, oh, I was trying to we were having that conversation about like paying rent, and I was like, my dad's not going to accept rent. Last night, my mom couldn't cook. She was staying late at work, so I went to get me and my dad Chipotle. As I'm leaving the door, my dad's like, no, take the money for Chipotle. Take the $20. I'm like, Dad, it's 20 fucking, I can pay for the Chipotle. He's like, no, you've been paying for the I was like, no, Dad, I'm not taking. So like, this is what I mean, dude. If he would barely let me pay for Chipotle for both of us, it's going to be hard to pay him the rent money. But again, that's just kind of how Indian parents are. All right, let's call up Steve. Again, thank you guys for all the support on the channel this week. It has been amazing. It's been super fun. Been a good week for the markets. We'll see how October turns out. But from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys showing up every single day, being here with me, rocking with me, and hopefully enjoying the show and getting some value. Let's call up Steve and let's get his thoughts on the broader market. Let's see if he picks up. I believe he's driving right now.
Hello.
Steven, you're live on the Market Close. What's up?
New York City traffic.
I'm going to be in New York today.
Okay.
I'm meeting up with a friend. He works at Palantir to go get dinner.
So you mean tonight, not today?
Yeah, tonight. Well, yeah, basically tonight. Yeah.
Huh.
It's been a fun week, Steve. Markets have done interestingly this week, given some of the macro conditions we had. Before we get started, how was your week? Let's start off with that. How was your week?
Dandy.
Did you say dandy?
Yes.
People in the chat are saying gaps get filled.
That's because they do.
Gaps get filled. Okay, so what do we want to start talking about? There's a lot of different topics. I think
Just go right into Meta.
Okay, Meta.
That Meta's going to 1,000. I mean.
Okay, so what's I think a Bard on the street, or no, Rosenblatt, they increased their price target to 811. Meta's currently at 23 times next year's earnings. It's around 560. Yeah, let's start the question. How does Meta get to 1,000 for you?
I mean, I think it gets there in the next 2 to 3 years.
Why?
I think that you're going to see a lot of spending on advertising, and I think that Zuck may actually be ahead of everybody in this whole glasses AR realm. And I do not believe computing is going to stay on a screen. I don't believe smartphones are going to stay on a screen. I don't believe computing is going to stay on a screen. And I think everything is going to be in AR through the glasses. And I think Zuck really may be building the next computing platform.
Are you being a prisoner of the moment because they put a nice video up with Jensen, or you genuinely believe in this glasses shit?
No, that's been my thesis. I thought it was going to be Apple. Now Apple's saying they're coming out with a new Vision Pro with an M5 chip.
Wait, hold on. I thought I was going to tell you this news. Did you see that tweet? How did you keep up with that news?
I mean, I may have a feed going.
So basically, when you're supposed to be working, you're on Twitter reading about Apple.
No, I may have a feed going. I have a lot of monitors.
Okay, so Apple coming out with the new Vision Pro, does that make you feel happy that they're reiterating on it?
I'm happy that they're not leaving it to another company to develop, and that they are trying to really develop it, because I do think it is a huge revenue win and profit win for any company that nails it. And I don't think it's going to be one ring to rule them all. I think there's going to be multiple winners, but it's going to be several winners take most. It's not going to be where you have all these different clothing companies. It's going to be 2 or 3 players, and content's going to be key, and the platform's going to be key. And if Meta makes a platform that you can access your email from, and you can do all these other things from, and if they partner with Microsoft, I mean, it's checkmate. That's the key, partnering with Microsoft.
Okay, so if I had a gun to your head right now, and I said Meta or Apple, who wins the glasses industry? Who do you
Meta,
say?
because Zuck is so angry at all the money he's left on the table for not owning the platform. I mean, the bottom line is, if he didn't have to pay this cut to Alphabet or Apple with any of the revenue producing, they would be making so much more money. So he's hell-bent on this. So I think there's a fire in him that I would have to put my money on him as really being the front runner in this.
Okay, side question real quick. Would you rather for the next 5 years own Baba or Apple if you had to pick one?
Apple.
Okay, so that was a quick answer.
It's just safe. As much as I think Baba is very undervalued, way more undervalued than Apple, I mean, you make a statement like that, you got to go with the safe play.
Yeah. Okay, so for Meta, I think your target of 1,000 over the next couple of years is accurate. I also think what's your take on this? Google's facing the headwind of this whole search commoditized by LLM stuff. I know you don't really believe in that.
I think people are fucking dumb.
I get it, and we'll talk about Google, but Meta doesn't have any of those issues. No, because they're not a search engine.
Because they're not a search engine.
They're a social network, and no one has 4 billion people hooked onto 3 apps like Meta.
Ain't that something?
I agree, dude. I've loved Meta for a long time, just never had a position in it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Also, a stock split most likely is coming in the future as well.
Don't care. I could care less with splits. The only thing a split is good for at this point is you get more activity with more people buying shares, because they can afford, psychologically, they can afford more.
Yeah.
Instead of buying 100 shares, they can buy 1,000 shares. It's dumb. I mean, it's just a psychological thing.
So next 5 years, would you own Meta or Apple?
Meta.
Wow, that was a quick answer.
Yeah, I mean, Meta has better margins, and I think they have more scalability.
Okay. Let's talk about China then. Let's move on to that. So our friend Chris has gone super bullish China. Like, he came on the stream today and said he's buying.
Wasn't he telling me I was crazy?
Well, he's told you.
Hasn't he told me I was crazy for a few things?
He's told you you're crazy for a few things this year. That's correct. And looks like, the crazy guy ended up being right. Now, granted, he agreed with SLG, so that one he agreed with you on. But in general, do you think China? So here was Chris's take. Everyone's like, "Oh, China's a communist party." Chris is like, because they're the communist party, they're gonna impose their like force and will to make these companies succeed. So he's thinking the communist thing is actually a good angle, because it's gonna like if he tells Alibaba to buy back their shares, they're gonna buy back their shares essentially.
This is what everybody has to remember about China: largest population on the globe, They have an emerging middle class. When you have an emerging middle class of hundreds of millions of people, the last number I read was something like 680 million people or something like that. They buy more because they increase their standard of living. You have more businesses that are utilizing cloud services because you have more need for stuff throughout the country. It's just Baba is everywhere, and it is really going to work.
So, do you know why Nvidia was down 2% today?
Something about China making us think about buying their chips, and they want the companies to buy them from home.
Correct. So why wouldn't China say something like that again? Eventually,
12% of their revenue. Who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares? Nvidia fell 2% off that one statement.
Okay.
A lot of people care.
It's 12% of their revenue. They'll make it back.
No. No. I don't care about Nvidia. My point is China saying a sentence like that and tanking Nvidia on the day. Are you scared at all they could do something like that for their own companies?
I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's a risk you take. You know that the CCP can derail anything. But look, the number one thing that people need to remember is they want to compete with the U.S. and they want to be the world's largest economy, and they have the potential to do it. I think the time frame that was estimated 2027 probably going to get pushed back to 2030 or 2032 at this point. But they ultimately could become the world's largest economy. If they do, a company like Bob is going to thrive.
Would you rather go long Latin America or China over the next 5 years?
So that's a good question.
So we got Crossroads in the chat says that Latin America has less geopolitical risk and the same growth vector.
Less geopolitical risk. I don't know if the top end upside is there, though. I'd really have to look at that. I mean, look, I have an investment in Walmart in Mexico. So, I mean.
Okay, last question on China. If they invade Taiwan, what happens to your thesis?
Yeah, everything goes out the window. Come on.
So
you know that. Everything goes out the window.
That's just a risk you're willing to take, basically.
I mean, that happens. The U.S. markets are at risk, too. It's not just Chinese stocks. So, that happens. Microprocessors are screwed. You're going to have such a shortage. You're going to see. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. The ramifications are going to be incredible.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think a fair take is like, it doesn't matter if you're invested in China or America if that happens.
It doesn't matter. And look, you don't want that to happen. You don't want people to die. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Palantir, Peter Thiel sold $600 million worth of stock. What is your reaction to that?
It deserves to sell.
So no issues.
No, like guys had these shares for 20 years. And, you know, it's the same thing. When a company goes public and you've been working at that company for a long time, and you finally have an opportunity to sell and you put so much time and effort into it, you deserve the reward. I mean, he's still a shareholder and you deserve the reward. Can't get mad at him for selling.
Yeah, that is fair. What is your reaction to Thiel and Karp selling this much and the stock barely budging to the downside? I mean, like, do you think the market has said they don't care anymore about insider sales on Palantir?
The market, Palantir could be the next Tesla that just doesn't have to play by the rules. It really could be. And the valuation may never make sense.
I mean, dude, if they're the next Tesla without having to play by the rules, and Tesla was always a hardware company before, you know, FSD and all this stuff. So you're talking about a lot of scale with Palantir as well with software.
And I am not saying, when I say that they could be the next Tesla, I'm not saying from a revenue standpoint. I'm just saying that Tesla's never made sense from a numbers perspective, from a valuation perspective. Never.
It still doesn't make sense. 850 billion.
Still doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but Palantir could be the next Tesla in that sense. It just maybe it doesn't have to make sense.
If you had to own Palantir or Tesla over the next 10 years, what would you pick?
Palantir.
That's a hard one, right? Put in the chat. That's a hard. I knew that would trip you up. That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
I want to say Palantir because everything needs a brain. But is Palantir system going to be the official brain of AI? I think I mean, you want to say yes. It's a toss-up.
It's a hard one, dude. It's not like
make the case for either.
I
think Palantir, because I don't think you have the Elon risk.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick Palantir in a heartbeat because I simply think that it's very simple to me. Tesla's 800 billion, Palantir's 80 billion. So a 10x on Palantir is 800.
Tesla's bot business could be bigger than the auto business. But you have an Elon risk. Something happens to Elon, that company is screwed.
You do. And also, again, for a 10x, Tesla has to go to 8 trillion. Not saying it's not possible. It's just we haven't seen that before. There'll be some hiccups to get there. Whereas Palantir, we've seen multi-$100 billion software companies, and I think their potential is obviously much greater than just being a regular software company.
Okay.
Do you want to talk a little SoFi at all?
No.
Dude, Steve, this is like, at some point, we're going to have to resolve this issue you have with SoFi.
I mean, there's nothing to resolve until I see the next quarter's numbers in the earnings report.
But regardless, you're in this for the long term, so you're not thinking of selling the position or anything like that, I would imagine, right?
I'm not getting out of the position, but it's one of those things where I'm not happy with the decisions to outsource the business banking. Doesn't make sense to me.
All right. What are you doing with your PayPal? So you have a ton of PayPal. Oh, here's someone wanted me to ask you. Do you still want Alex Chris to take it private?
At this point, no.
So you're saying when you wanted him to take it private, it's because the stock was dead money and you were being emotional. So now that the stock's up and you feel better, you are less emotional. It's okay to admit that. And now you don't want to make him take it private, correct?
No, it's a numbers game. At the valuation, it didn't make sense. And if the market wasn't going to reward it and put a bigger valuation on it, they should have went private. The market's starting to reward, starting to get a bigger valuation. It's getting some momentum. And
so hold on. When you're saying the market's starting to reward it, that quite literally means the stock is going up.
Yeah, the stock was dead money for a long time. If the stock stayed dead money, they should have taken it private. But now that they're actually getting some valuation out of it, it makes sense to stay in public
Steve,
markets.
it's okay to admit, hey, when the stock was in the gutter, they could have taken it out. But now that the stock's up, it
doesn't make sense. It's too expensive for them to take it out now.
But it's also an emotional reaction you're having. It's definitely not logical.
Not really. You could have paid for it in less than 10 times free cash flow.
Yeah, but
now you can't.
That wouldn't have unlocked shareholder value if they took it private. You would have barely got a premium.
Doesn't matter. It would have been the right move for the company.
Not for you as an investor. You would have got like maybe 60 a share or something.
I'm taking myself out of it.
Okay.
I'm saying that it made sense back then. It doesn't make sense now.
Do you think PayPal hits closer to 100 this year? I mean, how are you thinking of the price itself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always thought that fair value was, you can make a case anywhere from 93 to 105 for fair value. So yeah, I think it could. I mean, I don't know, because you're not going to have the Q4 sales in for PayPal until end of January. So we'll see. Maybe it gets to 90.
I think they have tailwinds ahead of them. I think, and the narrative that they're a dinosaur, I don't see that narrative anymore.
It was a dumb narrative.
It was always a stupid narrative. It was always stupid. I mean, 450 million users.
Dinosaurs don't grow.
Correct. And they're growing 8%. That's growth. That's still real growth.
Okay.
Google. So this has been stuck in the 160s for a good, I think, month now. Does the street have this totally wrong, or how are you thinking of this?
Completely wrong.
Okay, why? Why does Google go to 180 after earnings?
Oh, that's the thing. It should be past there right now. I mean, look, if they come out with bad earnings report, it's going to 120, 130. But from the numbers standpoint right now, it is the most undervalued big tech play there is. And it's just one of those companies where the sum of the parts may be greater than the entire company together. So if it gets broken up, it may actually be good for shareholders, even though I don't want it to get broken up. There's a lot of value to be unlocked in that company. And once again, LLMs, ChatGPT is not going to cannibalize search. Alphabet is still growing. Their ad revenue is still a duopoly with Meta. Only two places to advertise. So people have it wrong.
Trump came out and said that he wants to prosecute Google when he gets elected because they are showing bad stories of him in the search results.
Oh God.
Oh, you got to admit, whether you agree or not, it's entertaining. I'm reading this right now. It's pretty entertaining. I don't think he literally means Google, even though he's saying Google has illegally used the system of blah, blah, blah. I think he's talking about social media companies in general with censorship of right-wing content, which he would have to prove if he has a lawsuit. But the point is, it's a little bit more, again, pressure on Google, which is why I think people aren't buying this stock. They're afraid of pressure from the DOJ and all these other entities around Google itself.
Okay. I mean, the only thing that you can say that they're a monopoly on is search. That's it. Can't say they're a monopoly on anything else.
Speaking of the election, you don't have to get into your political beliefs, but do you think the market cares anymore about who wins?
Nope. I think the market's very happy because you're going to get gridlock, and that's what everybody wants, gridlock, so nothing gets done. So as long as one party has at least one chamber, the other party has at least one chamber, the market does not care one bit. And the way it looks now, it looks like there's going to be gridlock for the next 4 years.
So you think whether it's Trump or Harris, the market is going to get gridlock?
At this point, it doesn't matter.
You know, that I kind of agree with you, and that's crazy because a month ago we all thought that like the market really was going to tank if it was one or the other.
So it didn't look like it was going to be a chop, though. Now it looks like it's going to be a chop with the House and the Senate. So if it's a chop, the president doesn't matter because you're going to have to negotiate, and to get anything done, you're going to have to come to some type of deal that everybody can live with. It's not going to be very easy just to push things through. So
now, what's interesting is that what if the House and the Senate go the same color? Then the market might have like if it's all Republicans or all Democrats and the executive branch lines up with that.
Only if they have the presidency too. Look, as long as there's not clean sweep by either party, you have gridlock. The
last clean sweep was in 2020 we had a clean sweep. 2017 Trump got the clean sweep, and then 2012 Obama had gridlock because he had the House and the Senate Republicans and he was the Democrat. So we've had 2 clean sweeps over the past 2 administrations.
It doesn't look like we're getting it right now. That could change.
Yeah, that could indeed change. The Saudis are pumping and drilling oil. You came on the show a while ago and said when oil prices go down, it helps everything. The airlines were up 7% yesterday because of margin increases based on oil.
Go figure.
Oil decreases. What are your general thoughts on oil at 67 a barrel? What do you think that means for the economy?
It's good for the economy. It's really good. Be even happier if it gets to like 63, 64.
Would you go long?
I don't want to go in under 60.
Why?
Because then you get into a sticky situation with oil producers. You want everybody to make money. At 60, the oil producers make more than enough money to do what they need to do. The refiners do well because input costs are lower. And you have inflation down, and you have businesses doing well because you have input costs down. So oil at 60 is a golden scenario for the economy.
Do you think oil continues to stay this low, or do you think there's anything that can mess it up? And
it depends on supply and demand. I mean, everybody's worried that supply is outstripping demand, but with what China just did and with GDP growth in the U.S. and with the Fed cutting rates, I mean, look, you need more energy. So I think we're going to be fine. Maybe it's choppy for a little bit, but runway long term, I think we're fine. We'll have more than enough demand to meet the supply.
So we talked a lot about the macro and recession on this channel every time you're on Friday. What is your feelings for a recession over the next 5 months? Do you think it's still likely?
No, I've been saying it's not likely unless you had unemployment continue to climb, and we're not seeing that. I mean, there's nothing that's showing that this is going to happen.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, I don't want to rule it out, but it given all the
look, you can never rule it out. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. In the next 5 months, it's pretty hard to see that it's going to happen. next year and a half, maybe. But I don't know. The one thing that really could put you in that scenario is if layoffs really gear up, if more companies start cutting jobs, and if people can't service the debt and people end up foreclosing and defaulting on loans, then you'll have a very big recession. I don't think we're there. But I don't necessarily know that that's going to happen. I don't know if anybody knows that's going to happen.
Tesla 1010 event. Sell the news, or you're excited for it?
Don't care.
Why do you, Steve? You can't be a Tesla shareholder and not care about this event.
Obviously, I can because I am.
Okay, we need to get that on a shirt. Obviously, I can because I am. It's the most douchey thing to say, but I like it. It sounds good. No, you have to care.
I don't care about the 1010 event. I'm a shareholder, so obviously I can.
No, hold on. It's 1010. It's the biggest event in basically, I would say, 4 years for Tesla. You have to care.
Because they're going to show a car driving without anybody in it? Whoopee.
Steve, okay, look, I've been pretty nice to you on your FSD take, but your inability to recognize how revolutionary it is just because of regulatory approvals is a little short-sighted, in my opinion.
If they come out and really say they have regulatory issues locked down.
No, even if they don't, if they just show a working product with a timeline to launch, that is very bullish.
It doesn't matter because their timeline is dictated by bureaucracy. We all know what happens there. So it doesn't matter.
Okay, but that I don't understand why you don't care at all about FSD. I know you're more bullish on bots, but your lack of bullishness on FSD to me is weird.
I don't think people are going to buy unless you get people able to use it. I would rather them come out and say they have a $22,000 car than FSD.
I feel that point. My point is, if they say we're launching in Las Vegas in February, that is good news. That's not bad news.
Talk to me when it's a real city. Nobody drives in Vegas.
What do you mean no one? I was in Vegas. People drive in Vegas. There's some drivers in Vegas. I mean, you're right. The majority. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, there's other parts of Vegas where people don't drive, but
talk to me when it's LA.
I mean, if they launch in LA or California, that'd be awesome. That'd be
talk to me when it's LA, New York, Miami, somewhere like that, Chicago, not Vegas.
All right.
People go there and walk around on the strip. It's not commuter facility.
You don't think you're being a little hard-headed on FSD right here?
No.
I know you think you're right all the time, and you are usually right all the time, but you don't think this deserves a little more attention from you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because it's not going to change what they generate in revenue unless people are willing to adapt it. And I just don't see people willing to adapt it unless it is allowed to be used. Why would you buy a Tesla and then pay for the upgrade package if you can't use it where you live? Why?
I get it.
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing this, because they absolutely should, because they have to do this to get to where they need to get to. But the bottom line is that when you talk about it impacting the stock, it will impact the stock when you get regulatory approval in places like Washington, D.C., where it's heavy commuted. Those types of areas. So, I mean, until he talks about the plan for regulatory, I really don't know.
All right. Shout out to Dougie. Thank you for joining, Dougie. We'll see you on the next show. Rocket Lab's up 50% this week.
Yeah, Matt was right.
Okay. Are you thinking of initiating a position?
No.
Why?
I don't understand the company.
What is there to understand? Dude, they launch shit into space. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to understand. I could get you don't want to buy it at like all-time highs or 52-week highs. I get that, but I don't think it's a complicated thesis.
I mean, I don't understand how they're going to make money in the future. I've never really put the time into research.
But you're bullish on SpaceX, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a little different though. Elon's got a track record.
It's a little SpaceX. That's all it is. It's a tiny little SpaceX. That's it.
Yeah, it's a little SpaceX.
It doesn't have the Elon part, but still. Oh, by the way, the CEO of the company, I'm going to start eventually building a deeper position because I saw an interview with him. It's a 7-second clip. And the CEO was like, yeah, sometimes when we have a bad day, I just go down and I stroke my rocket. And that was enough for me to be like, I like this guy.
And this is why I'm not investing.
Dude, tell me that's not Alex Karp-esque. I mean, like, just like, I like that, bro. I like that. And so I want to, I trust that guy. I trust him. Just off that. I like it.
Okay.
All right. What other headlines do we have? Nvidia, what'd you buy this week?
I bought more BP.
BP?
Yeah.
Why?
BP is 3050 is call me crazy, but let's see in a year.
But I'm assuming you just think oil prices will go up in a year, basically.
I think they're very undervalued compared to the other super majors. Dividends almost 6%, buying back more shares, and I think we need more oil. So I'm good with BP.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. So speaking of the dividend yield, are you trying to find yielding assets right now, given rates were cut, or you don't think it makes sense?
It's not hard to find them.
Well, that's also true. Pfizer, is that one interesting right here to you?
I think BMY is more interesting. But I'm going to call you back in 2 minutes because I'm going to lose you going through the basement into out there.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Bye. Steve is right about BP. Burry likes it, but realized he was early. Burry will buy back soon as well. Dude, Burry's been having, you talk about someone who's having a good week. Burry, goodness gracious. The amount of BABA this guy has, JD, Baidu. I'll pull up how much he has right now, but he has a lot. I wonder if he's selling any here or if he's holding on. Yeah, so he has 155,000 shares of BABA. 72 is his average. Baidu, 75,000 shares. JD, 250,000 shares. Those are the three names. And then he has some Shift 4 payments. So he's loaded up on 3 heavy tech names, and that's obviously doing well for his portfolio. What else do we have here? CrowdStrike. Yeah, we'll ask Steve on CrowdStrike what he thinks about that. How did that do this week? CrowdStrike. Hold on. They got upgraded a ton this week, and it's been good for them. Yeah, 285 up 1.56% of the week. They've had a good week. They've had a really, really good week. They got upgraded based on that Falcon Con September event that they hosted. And I think cybersecurity matters more and more and more. That thesis, along with energy, seems to be continuing to grow in a variety of different ways. BP at the same price as 1997, factoring inflation, it's like over negative 60% over 20 years. Yes, you get a dividend, but it's like 5% after tax, so it would be better off just buying bonds. That's a fair point. I mean, maybe he thinks the tangible book value of BP is undervalued in comparison to the other oil names. BP is interesting though. I haven't really gone through BP's financial. I should though, because they partner with Palantir, and maybe that is also a semi tailwind for them, just in terms of operational efficiency as well. Christian, thank you for the $5 super chat. PCCYF, it trades almost exactly with the oil market. It's off roughly 20% off the low since the oil dip. It has an 8.4% interest rate. PCCYF. I have not heard of this one. Oh, this is an OTC stock. Well, yeah, you'll definitely get an 8% dividend on an OTC. All right, so this one, the average person cannot trade. But that is an OC. That's also a penny stock. You just got to be concerned about that one. When you got the pennies, you have to kind of reconcile them sometimes if it's a good buy. But hey, if it's working for you, then it's working for you. It's not OTC. It's China. Well, it's still well, Webull says it's OTC. Could I buy it on Hood? Let me see. Let's see. If it's not on Hood, usually it's OTC. PCCYF. Oh, no, that's weird. Okay, so I'm getting... I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely OTC because it's not on Hood. Okay, so that one definitely is an OTC one. Berkshire has a huge position in it. Interesting. All right. I will do some research on that one. ET is up 20% for the year. So ET, I looked at this a couple weeks ago. Makes sense at 1607. This one is a nice one. This is up 20% for the year, 8% dividend. This one's one of the most, not one of the most important companies, but one of the more important companies in the energy space. Steve's been liking this one for a long time. I think he liked it at like $9-10. So this one also is at a great year as well. All right, you're back.
All right. Yeah, I think BMY is more interesting than Pfizer right here.
What do you think about CrowdStrike, Steve?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
You're not long. Did you buy this one when it fell or no?
No. No, I did Fortinet.
Oh, right. You did Fortinet. Yeah. This is your cyber play. Okay, so I have a stat for you. Money market funds increased by 120 billion this week. Why do you think that's the case?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think there's an easy answer, but I'm curious what you think.
So I don't know what the answer is because I didn't read any of it, but I would assume you had a lot of CDs terming and those just went into money markets while people figure out what to do with the money.
Explain CDs turning into money market funds.
So when a CD terms, and if you don't renew it, you're most likely not going to put that money in a savings account. You're probably just going to throw it in a money market.
But why wouldn't people renew it is my question.
Why would you renew a CD now? Rates already dropped. Rates are going to continue to drop. Market's going to go higher. Why be stuck in a CD? I mean, I don't like CDs regardless that much because unless you're going to do a ladder, unless you really want to play that game, you do a ladder 12, 6, 3. But I think money markets are, I'd rather be in a money market and get 20 or 30 bips less and have the flexibility of access to cash than being locked up in a CD.
That's actually, that's a really insightful explanation. I thought it was people tax loss harvesting their losers and then putting it into money market funds until the election is over.
I think it's too early to tax loss harvest.
Yeah, well,
it's not even October.
Yeah, but still, people are,
It's not even October.
I
don't think people are going to tax loss harvest right now because the market can still run and they can still get back part of their losses. I think it's too early.
Do you have any losers you're planning to cut this year or no?
Potentially this year or next year. It depends. Depends if anything gets called away that I don't want to roll and I don't know. I mean, there are two positions I'm looking to get out of, but I just don't want to sell at the moment because I think they can go higher.
Amazon. So you ended up Amazon pilling our mutual friend. And
but I Intel pilled him also, and Intel's doing well.
You Intel pilled him, you Amazon pilled him, you Nvidia pilled him.
I'm just saying.
It's so funny because he came on the show and he's like, I was talking to this guy last night and he told me Amazon's gonna get $1 trillion in revenue. I was like, were you talking to Steve? Are you talking to Steve Fiorillo who told you about this? And he said yes. So Amazon 187, are you buying it here?
I mean, I plan on buying some next week.
You think this thing has a shot? I think you said your price target is closer to 220 by end of the year if all goes well.
Do I think it has a shot? Yes. Do I think it can keep going up? Yes. Do I think they're going to have an outstanding Q4? Yes.
I think if their operating margins go up, that's going to be really exciting for them.
Agreed.
But I agree.
This is the environment you want to own Amazon because oil's lower and inflation's down. This is where you want to own Amazon.
No, that's a hell of a point. That's a good point. The other thing is I read this stat that 85% of companies are still on-prem and only 15% are in the cloud. Obviously, AWS is one of the biggest cloud players. So that itself is a macro tailwind over the next decade that I would imagine would be good as well.
I mean, I don't know if 85% are still on-prem, but there's a lot still on-prem.
Dude, there's one stat I saw that
most companies are hybrid, not really just on-prem.
I saw one stat that said it was 95% of companies. Like, it's still a lot of companies.
That can't be right. It can't be right.
I mean, maybe the numbers
Maybe
are a
it
little
is,
off.
but
Do you have any thoughts on baby oil?
why are you asking about this?
I'm just I'm not asking about Diddy. I'm asking about just your
You know, it'd be interesting. I wonder if Johnson & Johnson stock got obliterated when he went to jail.
You know the lawyer blamed it on a Costco sale.
I saw that, and the Costco lawyer said we don't even sell baby oil or something.
Yeah. Now see, if I was the Costco CEO, by the way, Johnson & Johnson down 2% over the past days. If I was the Costco CEO, I would get on their earnings call and I would literally say, we've seen an uptick in baby oil just for I would say it in a quick sentence and I'd move on, act like it was just part of my opening statements. And I would do it for the culture. Like I would do it for the fucking fun of it. And hopefully a bunch of people pick up on it and they just start laughing during the call. And the analyst would be like, why the fuck did you just mention baby oil? But
okay,
that would be pretty fun. Now, that's why I'm not the CEO of Costco. But if I was.
That's why you're not the CEO of Costco.
If I was the CEO of a public company, my earnings calls would have some, nuggets of excitement. They would have to have some nuggets of excitement.
Okay.
All right, final question for you, Steve. Sam Altman is getting 7% equity in OpenAI. He is set to be worth $10.5 billion. Do you have any take on the OpenAI situation?
What do I think?
Do you think that it is not fair Elon is not getting any equity?
If Elon feels it's not fair, he has the money to sue.
But I mean, in general, like, you're a capitalist. Elon put 40 million into this company that wasn't a company, turned into a company. Now he owns none of it. Do you think it's ethical to any extent?
So how does he own none of it?
Because he put it into he funded a nonprofit. There was no equity at the time.
Okay, so then he funded a nonprofit and he didn't get shares, so not much you can complain about.
But he funded it thinking that it wouldn't turn into a company with shares that's worth 150 billion.
That's his problem for not negotiating the deal correctly.
I don't know, man. That's I don't know if it's yes, you're right. It's technically his problem, but I still feel that is a
that's not Altman's problem, that's his problem.
I mean, I don't know. Well, so the three executives left, the CTO left. I kind of think there's something going on with Altman in this whole situation. At least that's what feels like what's happening. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's a great guy, but
don't know him. Who knows?
Would you buy OpenAI stock if you could buy it on the private markets?
I don't know.
Like at 150 billion, does that kind of make sense to you or no?
I don't know the numbers, so I don't know. The only company I'm considering buying is Anduril.
Why?
I like the company.
Yeah, I would pick OpenAI over Anduril just based on potential, in my opinion, but I could see the case for Anduril as well. All right. That is it, Steve. What are you doing this weekend? Anything special?
No, can relax.
Good. You deserve to relax. You usually work too. Are you writing articles this weekend as well?
I've been toning it down on writing articles.
Good, because people don't know you write an article in like 4 hours and you write like 10 of them a week, which is insane to me.
So, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch a movie, buy some baseball cards.
Oh, people wanted an update as well. Any update? Have you been buying any Pokemon, anything like that?
I've been buying baseball cards.
Okay, so less Pokemon cards, more baseball cards.
So, see what happens.
All right. Well, that's it, Steve. Thank you for joining. We'll talk to you next week.
Where are you going to dinner tonight?
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to meet up with him at his place, and I don't know. Last time we went to some place where there was like chicken and waffles and stuff for dinner. It was like a really cool spot, but I don't know. It'll be somewhere in Manhattan.
Well, Manhattan's a big place. Is it Midtown?
Dude, I don't know. It's like I think.
Don't say exactly where, but like.
No, I legit don't. I feel like it's. Yeah, I think it's Midtown. I don't think it's the East Village. So then it's probably Midtown if it's not. If it's not that.
East Village is East Village, and then you have many other sections of the city before you get to Midtown.
I don't know. I've been to his place a couple times. I don't know. It's in New York.
I'll tell you, I ate at Ben and Jack's the other day, and I was very impressed.
Ben and Jack's?
Yeah, sleeper steakhouse. Sleeper.
Is it better than Peter Luger's?
I'm not a Peter Luger's fan. I'm one
What?
of the only people. Yeah.
You're
I
not
think it's overrated. I think it's overrated.
Dude, you're out of
I
your...
would rather go to Old Homestead, Uncle Jack's, or Smith & Wollensky than Peter Luger.
Peter Luger is not overrated, bro.
Okay.
Dude,
a lot of people agree with you.
Dude, what are you talking about? Peter Luger is not overrated. Like, I had it in the summer. It was one of the best steaks I've had in my life.
Okay.
That's a weird take. Peter Luger's overrated.
I think it's overrated.
I think you're trying to be a contrarian, which is okay, but I think...
No. I've been to pretty much every really good steakhouse. And I personally, my own opinion is I think Peter Luger's is overrated. I'd rather go to Old Homestead.
Okay.
I'd rather go to Keen's.
All right. All right, bro. Okay. I think Peter Luger's is pretty decent. It's not bad.
Many people, I would say 95 out of 100, maybe even 90 out of 100 would agree with you. Everybody loves Peter Luger's.
I like it too, dude. I like my steaks medium well, and Peter Luger had good steaks.
What?
You known about this? I've told you I eat my steaks medium well. I don't do medium rare.
Yeah, but I don't want to believe it. That's sacrilegious.
Medium well is the equivalent of getting the juiciness of medium rare, but having the crispiness of a well done steak together. It is the perfect combination. And
no, it isn't.
Yes, it is. It is. And this is not controversial at all. This is
no, it is. So when I go out with everybody, unless everybody's going to get it medium rare, I will not get porterhouses for 2 or 4. Like, I want my own fucking steak.
Dude, last time when I was with Iliano at Peter Luger's, they were going to get like this big steak and everyone was going to share it medium rare. And I was like, no, I want medium well. So they had to get me a separate steak to get me the medium well. Because I was like,
yeah,
dude.
because they know how to eat steak.
No, they just like vampires. They like seeing the blood and shit. Like, I'm just not like that. You know? No, legit, bro. You're literally eating hemoglobin or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, no, dude, it's fucking blood. Like you don't want to literally see the blood. Medium well is very appropriate, in my opinion.
All right.
I used to be like you. I used to do medium rare. Then I went to a steakhouse once, and it just felt like I was like chewing into the skin of the. I was like, you know what? I need a little bit more crisp. I got more crisp. I was like, this is better. This is what I need.
Okay.
By the way, do you like Shirley Temples?
In all seriousness, I don't think I've ever had one. I've had both strawberry daiquiris and pina coladas, but I don't think I've ever had a Shirley Temple.
Okay. Well, I like Shirley Temple. I was just asking. See if you did.
I mean, listen, a strawberry daiquiri is delicious if you want a sugar headache the next day.
That's true. That's also true.
Like, they're delicious.
Yeah, I love Shirley Temples. I don't know why. It's just Sprite with some flavoring, but I still like it.
Okay.
All right.
You go have a nice medium well steak and Shirley Temple.
Yes, I will try to. All right, Steve. Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Later.
Bye. First of all, I'm not going on a date for all of you saying I'm going on a date. Acting ridiculous. Second of all, it's my homeboy, bro. I've known this guy for a good 2 years now. That's my guy, bro. He's Mateo. You guys, I'm sure some of you even follow him on Twitter. Right here. He's right here on Twitter. This is my dude, bro. I've known him for a while now. He works at Palantir. He's one of the smartest guys I know, bro. Really one of the smartest guys. Just one of the most talented engineers as well. So, did he friend zone you? Wow, so funny. So funny. He actually invited me into Palantir's New York office for the first time back in August of 2023. And that's when I got to see the office. And I got to have lunch there and got to connect with him and all that stuff. And then we just stayed friends ever since. He's a really smart guy, dude. Really, really smart guy. He's into investing, all that stuff. So super, super, super cool. It's not Grinder, bro. It's not a date. You guys are wild. I hate you guys so much, bro. I fucking hate this. So lock him in quick. I hate you guys. He's dope. He's dope. He's a super cool guy. He's super, and he's so smart, bro. He's so smart. He's so young and he's so smart. And he's legit, and he loves investing too. So he loves keeping up with like the world of investing. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been a wild week, been a fun week. I've barely slept this week, so tonight I'm gonna sleep. What are you wearing tonight? I don't know what I'm wearing, bro. I don't know, probably jeans and a hoodie. Like it's not a date, bro. It's not like it's like I gotta figure out what I'm wearing, bro. It's like I'm just wearing clothes and that's it. New York's always fun to go to. It's an hour from me though, so it's an hour-long train ride, but it's always fun to be back in the city. Sometimes I forget, like, dude, the city is the city, and like the vibes of the city. Like I live so close to the city, I forget like it's New York freaking City, and that's a very special place to be in. But like still, you know, it is one of those things I sometimes take for granted because I live so close to the city. I've always lived so close to the city. But when you get there, you remember, holy crap, it's New York. It's New York. You bring in flowers. All right, now you guys are just... Do you pay for the meal or he does? You guys are loving it. You know, enjoy the jokes. Enjoy the jokes. That's why I'm here. I'm here to entertain and be a vessel of humor for everyone else. So enjoy it. Enjoy the jokes. I've never seen him smile this much. He's glowing. Dude, when I actually get a girlfriend, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to introduce you guys to her. I feel like you guys, most of you guys are cool, but like, I feel like she would be so shy to come on camera. And she would have to deal with like 2,000 people just like judging her in them. Like that for anyone, dude. For even if 95% of people are nice, like for any girl, I feel like that's a lot. Like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that, dude, because if this is going to be my career for the foreseeable future, and eventually there is a girl in the picture, like, I don't know if she's going to be able to deal with with this, right? Like, I'm assuming she would want to like know you guys, but I also don't know. If I was her, I would be like, hey, these random people knowing who I am, like, that's kind of, it's difficult for someone who's not a creator. So it's one of those things that it'll be interesting to see if that plays out. Ryan says, we are your GF, Amit, you give us all your time. That's true. And a lot of you guys have messaged me that say you listen to me more than your wives and girlfriends, which I that makes my day. I love that. I love that, dude. That's important. We get to cultivate our relationship together without the wife, you know, constantly being involved, or the husband, whatever route it goes. IDK, how I've all this time to watch him. Dude, I think what it is, all right, so be honest in the chat. I think for the people that stay during the stream for like a couple hours, I'm assuming it's just in the background, right? Like that's how I would imagine it. It's just in the background and it's just playing in the background and it is what it is, right? When you're doing your regular life. So, because that when I used to like watch streams heavily, obviously I can't do that much now because I am creating the content. Like it would just be in the background while I'm doing stuff, and you know, you would tune in here and there into the comments and all that stuff, but that's usually how it works. No, this is my main entree. All right, so I'm beneficial. I'm beneficial is literally in the streams with the audio off because he's at work and he's just in the chat. So like he's just like in it just to see what's going on. So I'm assuming some people like actually stare at it and like keep up with it. Other people just keep it in the background, and that's, yeah, you're chilling most of the time you're on. Yeah, that's what I thought. Costco shopping, I love it, dude. It's so crazy because I've noticed myself consuming content. Like today, I was like, oh, by the way, Tom Lee was on the Compound and Friends, so I was listening to a little bit of that podcast while I was walking today, and you just remember and realize everyone is consuming content in their own way. Sometimes people are working, sometimes people are actively watching, sometimes people are just taking a walk, sometimes people are like just doing laundry. Like it's so interesting, the democratization of proliferating the content into people's ecosystem of their daily lives, and then they have their own way to choose to consume it. And that's really been the difference between mainstream media and independent content creation, is that there's no set schedule, right? You can listen to it whenever you want. Yes, you can also join into the live when it's actually live, but if you can't, it's on your own terms. And that's why content creation is really hard, because there's millions of people that are fighting for people's attention, right? And everyone's trying to get a slice of it. But it does give more people the opportunity to potentially consume your content. What happens, Kelly? So Kelly hasn't been part of the streams for the past couple months. She has some personal stuff that she's been dealing with her family that started back in April for her. Legal stuff that she's dealing with, and that's kind of been the issue. I still talk to her here and there, but she's been having, it's just like, I don't know, I don't want to air out all of her business, but like it's different. It's difficult shit. It's shit where you kind of take a break from social and you're focused on the legal parts of what she's dealing with. So yeah, it's been a rough couple months for her. I think probably close to the end of the year, early next year, stuff starts to clear up. But that's been one of the reasons why she's been kind of AWOL. She's okay. She's doing all right, but it has been difficult for the past couple of months with the legal shit she's dealing with. Amit, do you have an IG? Don't have a Twitter? I don't have an Instagram, but like, I feel like I should be posting on Instagram. I just hate Instagram so much. I use Instagram to like look at reels and stuff, but like, I don't know, dude. I'm just not the biggest fan of like posting on Instagram. It's never been that interesting to me. Twitter is really where I enjoy stuff. Let me see. I do save reels though. How do you find saved reels? Whenever there's a funny reel, I'll save it. And I'll keep it in the a lot of my reels though are just like, look, let me show you guys let me show this. This is are you active on LinkedIn? Not really active on LinkedIn. Look, this is my Instagram Explore page. It's a podcast on the left. You see that baby in the bottom, whatever, the bottom right. So there's baby videos, there's a podcast, and then you see all these skydivers. That's what my feed is. The camera shot. That's what my feed is. People skydiving. That's what I'm consuming on Instagram, dude. Like these people skydiving, I don't know how it gets my attention, but it gets my attention, and that's what I'm like. Look at this. Look at this. How do you not watch this? This thing, they're doing a Rubik's Cube while they're jumping off a plane. This is the type of dopamine that I'm consuming on Instagram. This is what I'm saying. It's like I don't get smarter on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm actually reading stuff. It's interesting. On Instagram, it's like 5 minutes right before I sleep, and I watch people take a skydive. And that's my algorithm. And so that's what I tend to look at. Is private Amit your account? No, any account that has Amit in it that is not Amit is investing is fake. So please do not talk to them. Please do not engage with them. They're trying to sign you up to some Telegram group and like sell you some stupid shit. Please. The amount of messages I get from people saying that, is private Amit you, is Amit trading you. It's like, no, it's just me. Just Amit is investing. And that's it. Okay, so for the Discord server, I don't think I'm ever going to start a Discord server. And the reason for that, and I know some of you guys might hate that, but the reason for that is because managing a Discord server is not easy to do. There is something about hundreds of people, and in my case, I think it would get closer to thousands of people being in one spot, saying anything they want to say, that ends up becoming a shit show a lot of times. I've done this before. I've seen Discords before. It has to be heavily moderated. You can't kind of like, you'll start having someone talk about some crazy shit. Like it's really tough to moderate a Discord community effectively. And it's just like, it's a lot of time and energy being put into like keeping that group together. This is why people charge for Discord groups at the end of the day, because it is like a literal full-time job making sure that Discord community is like accurately being put in place. So A, I'm not going to ever charge for that, but B, I also just don't want to manage it, bro, because it just gets intense, dude. There's like too many people saying too much shit, and it gets to be too much. I mean, dude, you'll have people saying some crazy racist shit here and there. Like it's a lot, bro. It's like, and I just don't want to deal with that. So at this point, I'm not ready to do that. It's too much. I'm sure it would be awesome to have this community together, but I think Twitter and the chat kind of helps us do it. I mean, if it's all about the community talking to each other, the chat is kind of what facilitates that during the stream when it's the most active time to talk. Then Twitter, I think, is a very active place to do it. And then the only other difference on Discord is like you have these sub channels where people are talking about different, stocks and stuff, which is fine. It's just, it can get out of hand sometimes when you have a lot of people in one place. So that's the reason I've never really started a Discord. And again, it's just you need it has to be heavily moderated. Discord servers can get messy. Yeah, some of you guys know, dude. It can get. I've been part of Discord where it gets messy, bro. Like it's not as simple as because you're building a community, and when you have a community, like if someone says something that's probably really bad, I don't want to censor that person, right? I don't want to be like, hey, you're not allowed to say that. Like, who am I to say that? But you kind of do have to do that sometimes because like shit hits the fan, and like it becomes a messy scenario. So I'd kind of rather not dive that deep into it, especially when the chat helps us, talk about a lot of ideas and all that stuff. If it wasn't for finance and sports, I wouldn't use Twitter at all. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, look, Twitter needs a lot more use cases, and I think Elon's figuring that stuff out. But again, like, dude, the quote tweet of the post getting almost 50 million views, I think that shows how the reach of Twitter is continuously growing. Like, I know Elon has the most followers on the platform, but still, like, for a post to be able to get that much momentum, it's quite literally because the platform is growing enough and there's people willing to like consume it. Yeah, it's 50.6 now. Oh, did we figure out how much this got paid? Let me see if the payment came out for this. Everyone wants to know how much is this paying. Let's see. Did we get the number? No, we didn't get the number yet. So last week, Twitter paid me $381 for 2 weeks. I should be getting the number probably soon. I don't think it's going to be like, I think max is like maybe $1,500. And that's stretching it in my opinion. 50 million views is a lot of views though. But I feel like I don't know if it gets into the thousands range. Like at the end of the day, only verified ad impressions count. And I don't think 50 million people are verified on Twitter. So I definitely don't think it's going to be huge, but I'll let you guys know when we see it. Does Elon Musk make money when he tweets? I don't think so. I think he sacrifices his ad revenue. But if he did, I think he would get paid like $200,000 every 2 weeks. It would be ridiculous. Elon gets like 30, 40 million views a post. So I would imagine he gets some. Let's get Bayless. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that as well. Thank you for it. We have some other super chats. Samarth Gandhi, thank you for the super chat. Quick question for the 2025 hood calls. When would you think about closing the position? Because at 24, it could still run, but theta decay and election volatility. I would like to be in the money on those calls towards the end of the year. So I would like those to be closer to, definitely 25 and above, or 27, 28 by the end of the year. And then my goal is to close them early in January. But it might, maybe it's teetering on 24 to 25 into January. And so then I would have to kind of manage that. But if they're in the money by the beginning of January, then that's when I would officially want to close them. And really it's for taxes. If I close them in 2024, I have to pay a big tax bill in 2025. If I close them in 2025, at least I get to wait a year to get the money to be able to pay the tax bill in 2026. So that's what I would probably be doing. So probably closer to January if it's in the money. Where does X money come from? It comes from ads underneath a post. When people are scrolling, the impression they get of the ad in your replies, that's where Twitter takes a percentage of the revenue and then gives it to the creator. But it has to be verified impressions and it has to be under the post itself for them to count as a ad revenue split. And so you need a lot of impressions for it to add up in a meaningful way. You need to pay taxes right away. Well, yeah, well, I will need to pay taxes right away, but it will be on the 2024 income and 2024 gains. At least that's how it's always been for me. Maybe that could be a little off, but from what I understand, the rest of the taxes get paid a year later. It's basically your profit and loss for the fiscal year before, which is where the taxes come into play. There might be a little bit of a difference here because I have a couple of other different things as I'm self-employed, but I do think in the long term, I do have a chance to save some money. Now, granted, if we get to like 35 on Robinhood by December or something, I might not end up caring about taxes and just say, screw it. I'm going to close it out because the strike is 25. If we're that deep in the money, maybe we don't take the risk waiting until 2025 just to save some on taxes, but we will see. Do you pay quarterly? No, I actually pay yearly. I don't pay. I probably should be paying quarterly, but it ends up not making that much of a difference when I pay yearly. So I end up paying yearly. Why is Berkshire Hathaway down? Is it, or is that Google Finance being stupid? Berkshire Hathaway. Are they down after hours? They are. No, they're barely down after hours. It might be Google Finance if you're looking at that because they mess up. It's not down 3% after hours. It's, trust me, it's if you looked at Google Finance, that's probably why it's down 3%. Google's weird, dude. They get the finance stuff wrong all the time. Yeah, well, Google's not showing it. Yeah, I don't know what you're looking at, but it's not down 3% after hours. At least not what I'm looking at. Elon planning to have an Italian kid soon. Dude, he clarified. Did you see his comment? He was like, I went home with my mom to the hotel. So he was clarifying, hey, like nothing happened between me and the Italian PM. Dude, I thought the Italian PM was a communist. Apparently she's super right wing. Like I asked Arnie, I was like, is she a communist? He's like, no, dude. She's like, that's why she likes Elon. She's like, she's not part of that whole socialist woke stuff. So Palantir down 16% after hours. Well, buy the dip. There you go. Buy the dip. CrowdStrike after hours. Are we getting some moves on a Friday? It's down about 0.3%. Google down about 0.24%. Hood after hours down about 0.13%. S&P basically flat, 570.9 after hours. All in podcast mentions Palantir. Yeah, we talked about it in the beginning of the show. I'll talk about it more next week. I'll dive deep into this conversation they're having about AI SaaS and replications and like if it ends up hurting the SaaS market. But we'll go further into that broader discussion as well. Why do you think she was communist? I just thought Europe. So I was like, oh, Europe, that's it. And Arnie tells me all the time that Italy is like very anti like growth and capitalism. So I was like, oh, so is the PM a communist? But apparently she's not. But yeah, Elon's not going to be, I don't think, giving her a child anytime soon. But he did say he wanted to give Taylor Swift a child, which was very interesting when I found that out. All right, I think that's it. I think we're done. Good, exciting week. Fun week. We got to get through October now. October's the last month until the election. I think it's going to be an interesting election. I will be covering the election on the election day. I'm going to have Chris, Steve. I'm trying to get a bunch of people to be on the show, and we'll count down to see if Trump or Harris wins. That's going to be a hell of a night. And right now the polls are still 50-50, so I have no idea. I do think the market has moved on from caring that deeply about it, just given what we're seeing with China, rate cuts, Q3 earnings, good growth, GDP growth, inflation. Like a lot of that stuff is more important than the election. So we'll see what ends up happening. But we have earnings coming up soon. I have 7 days left before India. So that'll be pretty big as well. And I was talking to my uncle the other day. One thing he told me to mention to you guys is that India has the power, at least where my grandparents live, the electricity can go out randomly for like 30 seconds and then it comes back. And so he's like, the Wi-Fi is good, but like you're gonna have to tell them that it might randomly just go black for 30 seconds and you have to wait until it turns back on. And so it's gonna be an interesting situation, dude. We're gonna have to figure out what it looks like. But it looks like the internet's going to be okay. I have a space to do the show and we'll be all right. And now we just have to figure out if it's not hopefully the energy going out or the electricity going out every single hour. That would be nice. We just got OpenAI financials came out from a New York Times recent article. Revenue is $300 million per month. That's up 1,700% since 2023. They expect $11.6 billion in revenue for 2025. Wow. That just came out. $11.6 billion. They did $3.7 billion in 2024. That's about a 3x increase in 2025 for revenue growth. Now they probably lost $5 billion in 2024. They're going to do $11 billion in 2025. I would assume they're still not profitable on that $11.6 billion. But if they get to profitability in 2025 and they're growing 300%, dude, $11 billion is no joke for a startup. You could imagine why $150 billion is the current valuation that they're raising it. It's not too crazy. That's a pretty, and if they do another 3x, that would be almost 30 billion in 2026. I don't know if they could do another 3x, but if they do, that would be pretty incredible. We're in India and New Delhi. It's going to be in New Delhi. So it'll be around New Delhi. There's a couple other places I'm going to go, but it's New Delhi. This is a Jose's tweet. I'm looking at it from Jose's tweet over there. Palantir Weekly is not going to be tonight because I'll be gone. There's also not that much news on Palantir this week. There's really nothing outside of the insider selling, which is, I don't even know if that's news. There wasn't anything else crazy. There's not too much to discuss. Is that cheaper than Palantir? Well, the market cap is cheaper. The market cap is more expensive than Palantir's, but it's still, if the growth rate's obviously higher. So if we calculate whatever multiples we can get to, maybe there's an argument it's cheaper, but I still think Palantir is cheaper given it's 150 billion, which is a lot. They can get an inverter. Yeah, I think my grandparents do have an inverter, so I don't think electricity should be an issue, but there might be random moments where it just turns off, and hopefully it comes back pretty quick. But I think we'll be good. I think everything's shaping up to be good. I'm only there for 2 weeks, and then right when I come back, October 21st, we get right into the beginning of tech earnings. So really, we've got this final bit of momentum to end out 2024 from October 21st all the way down till the end of November. We'll probably get rate cuts on November 7th, 2 days after the election. And if China keeps printing and doing what they need to do and stimulating, then it looks like this could be a decent end of the year. All right. That is it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Common New Delhi isn't bad on internet. Oxygen, yes, but not internet. I've been to India in 5 years, so I'm curious what it's going to be like just breathing the Indian air. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go back and see how it looks after the past 5 years. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm out. It's not a date, but I'm happy you guys. I'm gonna tell him all these comments. Mateo's my guy, but he acts a little gay sometimes as well. He's just like, he's like, I feel like you are comfortable in your sexuality as a guy if you can act gay because you're not gay, right? So Mateo acts gay all the time, but he's not actually gay. I'm not gay either. So I love that you guys are. I'm gonna show him these comments and be like, dude, they think it's not where. I'll be like, this is what's gonna happen. I'll be like, dude, the chat thinks I'm on a date tonight with you. He's gonna be like, you are on a date with me. I know that's gonna be his response. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. You fucking crazy guy. But it'll be fun. And I'm gonna ask him. He's at Palantir. I'm gonna ask him, dude. I'm gonna be like, yo, like, what is this whole AI agents commoditizing SaaS shit? And I want to get his perspective. Again, he's only been there for a couple years, but I think he works with AIP directly. Like, he works with AIP very directly. He was at a boot camp last week. So he was actually at the first boot camp with Karp in Chicago. So like, he's not like a senior exec at Palantir, but like, he's earning his stripes at the company and really, really building a name for himself there. So I think he'll have some good perspectives on AIP and what it's going to be like in the broader SaaS sector. All right. That's it for me. Thank you, everybody. Sunday stream, we'll be back for futures, and then market open back on Monday, and we'll keep going from there. In Manhattan with Shirley Temples is definitely I love that you guys are having fun with this. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here this week. It was a big week in the market. Big week with the Elon quote tweet. Meant a lot to me. Thank you all for supporting. Thank you, everybody, for the messages. A lot of you guys reached out saying congrats for that. It was really awesome. Meant a lot. It took 80,000 tweets to get that quote tweet. So I guess that's a lesson of just keep fucking grinding and keep working. And, if you do it the right way, hopefully some good stuff will happen. All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday for the future show. Good night.